Hey, what's going on, Archons? Welcome to another episode of KeyThoughts. Had to break the streak and not put an episode out last week. I was just not feeling up to it. And yeah, talking for an extended period of time was not fun for me. So I took a break from it. It's fine. Good now, feeling fantastic and excited to share some thoughts that I have on this great game of KeyForge. So first off, we're going to talk about today variance in KeyForge as the main topic, relating to maybe not in the way that you're thinking of variance when I just say that word. I'm talking about in when you play a deck and something cool happens, variance. And it's going to be an interesting topic, I think. I'm pretty excited. We're going to do the card of the week to kick things off. Then we'll get into that, and that's that. So the card of the week this week is related to the topic, and it is babbling bibliophile. Okay, for those of you who don't know this card, it's a 1-power logos creature that says reap, draw 2 cards. Plain and simple. Great card, super fun. I played a deck on stream with this card that had 3 copies of it in it. And some wild stuff happened, and that is the perfect segue into this week's topic. So the story goes that I managed to get out 2 daughters and 3 babbling bibliophiles, which is amazing draw. Then I got out my opponent did not deal with them right away. I was able to reap. They just didn't have the board control. And then I got out a Titan Mechanic. Titan Mechanic? No, that's not the right word. Titan Guardian, to get some taunt going, and I think I got an Igor out as well, so I'm cycling like crazy. I'm drawing 6 cards a turn, and it got to the point where they just didn't deal with it, and I was holding up pretty much my entire deck in my hand minus Logos, because Logos cards were getting played, and I just held my other 2 houses, one of them being Dis. And it was really cool because the if you want to check out this game, it's in my stream replays. I will put it at the end of this video, so you can kind of click on that option to watch that stream replay. It was a really fun stream. Some wild games happened and that really cool stuff. But so what happened was I ended up holding all these cards and I wasn't drawing, so I knew I wasn't going to draw, so I literally just kept calling Logos because I had like 5 or 6 creatures out. So I was like, what's the point? I'm not calling Logos. Drawing 6 cards each turn and getting to reap for 5 seems pretty good to me. Like, I just stopped caring what my opponent was doing, even though they were like generating Ember and doing things. I didn't care because I knew I was in a position with what I was holding that I was going to just wreck. So it got to a point where I'm generating Ember, they're generating Ember, then they get to their 3rd key. I let them generate Ember. It was cool. Like, they went into check and were just like, pass in check, lots of Ember. I think like 8 or something. And then I was like, cool, haven't played any Dis yet. What do I have in my hand? My entire Dis house and an EE on the fringes. They happen to also have Dis in their deck. So guess what I proceeded to do? Play EE on the fringes, discard all of my cards that did not have Ember pips until they went down to 0 Ember. And then I proceeded to, in turn, also steal their Ember and put myself into check. It was a wild game. There was a concede before that got to be seen out because it was just way too good. So this brings me on the topic of variance, because this deck was like, I think I was playing against a high 70s SAS deck, and the deck I was rocking is a 57 SAS deck. Nothing to write home about, but it did some cool things. Maybe it was a little bit higher than 57. It might have been low 60s, but I'm thinking it was like 57. So what happened was I was able to get out these great cycling mechanic of babbling bibliophiles and daughters to get it going, and then the opponent just didn't respond, and then I just kind of ran away with it for a while there. I believe I was going against no, it wouldn't have been a Dark Tidings deck because they had Dis in their deck. I think it was Mass Mutations, actually, was what I was going against. It was Mass Mutations or Coda, one of the two. I can't remember exactly though. But the point is they didn't deal with the babbling bibliophiles, which in the most case everyone does. But I think when you have 3 out, you have now need 3 ways to get into it. And if I can protect one, it starts making things a little bit hectic. So I had this great situation where I got to drop all 3 at once, and it just worked great. So, or maybe it was like 2. I can't remember exactly, but I basically put out multiples and a daughter, so I was getting into a really good cycling and draw situation. And I was like, this is epic. This was so much fun doing this, just drawing cards, and then just smashing in the end. It kind of like, that's like a Genka thing, you know, when you have, or even just Martian Generosity, you can pull so many cards into your hand, and then just have these epic turns with your other houses afterwards. So I was like, this is epic. I want to do this again. So I decided to play a couple more games, not on stream or anything, just the last couple days. And it did not go well. I got absolutely smacked because there was a variance when I played. I got all these great draw things together, and my opponent didn't respond right away, which created a variance of me having this ability to draw 6 cards per turn. And if I'm playing stuff, I'm drawing above that as well. Now, that never happened. I didn't get my babbling bibliophiles the same way. I didn't get all 3 at once. They all came separate. I did get the daughter situation going to do a better draw, but it didn't come together in the same way. I was able to hold off playing my dis and do the same sort of idea of having a big EE on the fringes turn, but I was not able to have that same cycling. So my perception of this deck after the first time playing it was, whoa, look what this deck can do. I just drew a million cards. I'm holding my whole deck in my hand. It's fantastic. I can set up these great turns. Like, wow. But the truth is, that's not the reality of how the deck plays, because there was a variance that happened that showed me the Magic Christmas Land way a deck can play. And it happens. So it set up this like really fun false way that the deck plays. I'm still going to keep trying with it because I think there is something there, and it hits above its weight class, which I love. I love finding decks that hit above their SAS rating. I think it's the most fun thing. And I also think it's why I really enjoy Dark Tidings for that reason. So that being said, variance can also go the other way, I think, where you play a deck one time and it just comes out where it just shits the bed, basically, in terms of how it played. It played in the worst possible combination of cards, and then you think, wow, this deck is kind of garbage tier. But it may not be. It may just be that you got a variance that was in the negative side of things, not the positive. So that created you to have this perception of the deck now that is false. That is why you can't always play a deck one way, and you got to be able to recognize when this happens. Really key variancing is you get a glut of cards in one house. That is a variance thing. You get your opening hand, you have 4 or 5 out of the 7 cards in your hand if you're starting of the same house. You are now in a variance situation, especially depending on what cards are. If you got logos, you're almost always in a variance situation in that regard. So you also have to remember, if the cards come disjointed, where you're never getting like a set of 4 of one house at any point in time, you're also getting a variance situation where it's all disjointed, which also creates a false sense of how the deck can play. Those are kind of like the extremes. You need to find that medium where you occasionally get 3-3, or you get like a 4 once in a while. It gives you an idea of how you can burst with the deck and do certain things. And when I say burst, I don't mean Ember. I mean burst in terms of with the house moving forward. So that's something I just noticed, and I found it very interesting because I just thought this deck was like, I'm like, maybe I have a god tier deck here with a 57 SAS. No, not quite the case. I would say 57 is still underrated for the way the deck plays, but it definitely does need to have certain situations come that are really nice. So part of it is you could figure out, you keep playing it and try and unlock that same thing again. Because when you see how a deck plays, you try and maybe replicate those patterns. And that's also a fun thing. So you keep testing the deck to see how likely can I replicate this pattern. And that gives you an idea of the competitive level it can play at as a result. So that does it for this week. KeyForge product. There is still stuff. I'm kind of taking a break from pushing it right now. I feel like everyone's got a glut. So if you do want some stuff, you know what it is. You can hit me up. But if not, just hold off. There'll be more deals. The owner and I are kind of, he touches base with me and he's finding stuff out there and knows what exists. So there may be more sales in the future. And each time I think it's going to be a different set for the most part than the one before. So that's also exciting. So there's never going to be just the same thing. So stay tuned for more specials coming your way here, and share with your friends and pals Tell them to come like and subscribe on here, because that's where you're going to first find out about any KeyForge deals, any cheap product I got coming in my way that I can help facilitate for you to get a hold of. You're going to have to come here. So please do like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. And if you enjoy my content and wish to support me in any way, please join my Patreon supporters. I give away decks. I do deck analysis. There's lots of stuff to be enjoyed through that avenue. And I'm wondering if I should go back to writing articles again. It's been a long time. I've been using this video format instead. Let me know what you think about that idea. And always, folks, may your ember never be stolen and your keys forged promptly. Have a good one.